Hey guys, what is up? You are looking at my latest non-twink build. I really started this build with a couple goals in mind. If you saw my last video, you'll know I've got some room to improve, especially with the curved sword. This opening fight here is with the mace, just kind of to show where my head's been as I started creating this character. What I wanted to do was be able to show good aggression against other players, especially those who like to parry spam. Too often I found myself resetting to neutral, prematurely ending combos or pseudo combos, and what I'm trying to do is stay aggressive, stay in people's faces, and really kind of change my gameplay. And I think what you'll see when you watch these is I've actually improved a lot in the last couple weeks. Like there you saw I rolled out. That's the kind of thing I'm trying to avoid doing. I'm trying to stay in people's faces, stay aggressive, and there's a kind of timing, especially with a curved sword, that you find that you can actually get away with and swing fairly aggressively against people that have their parry shields out. Now obviously here, this player has a great sword, so I have to be really careful and respect his poise. But if you can space well, even with this small curved sword, you can easily punish their whiffs if they're not disciplined about their swinging. I'm using the Gru curved sword. Now the Gru curved sword, the one thing it has not going for it is its range. So a normal curved sword, if somebody rolls, you can always kind of catch their roll on reaction. The problem is this thing's too small. So if they roll directly away from you and they're me chasing his roll, that is something Epstude has been trying to teach me and I've been working at getting better with. The other thing you'll see here is almost all the players I fight are pretty well twinked out. They all have lightning bundles. They've all got Dragon Slayer's axe. They've all got heavy ass armor. So it definitely puts me at a disadvantage. But what I thought was if I could stay aggressive against players like this, and be able to swing my sword a lot and be able to win here, then I should be able to do it at any soul level anywhere. I mean, you'll see even like my backstabs don't do shit for damage. They do like 130 points of damage. The poison is actually pretty nice. I would describe it as like a bonus. It's definitely not reason enough to use this weapon by itself. There you see the kickflip. The kickflip is really nice because the timing, it comes out so fast that even if you swing twice and then throw that out, I don't think they can parry it. So I'm just trying to manage really good spacing, try to stay just outside their ability to attack, be able to step in quickly and attack, and then when I do, be able to keep up the pressure. It's tough against like Cestus players, especially when they've got a straight sword. And you'll see this guy comes blundering in. The other player's pretty good. This guy is not very good at all. And I'm just kind of able to like rip him apart. You also get a really good sense for when people are likely to panic roll with this weapon. And getting those reads like that is really well returned. I had never really played curved sword before. This is really the first time I've been playing with it, and I've just been having a ton of fun. Again, just learning a lot about what's possible, what I can do. Definitely recommend this weapon. Just cannot recommend it enough. I've been also kind of mixing in the hand axe and spear. That's fun too, and I can tell you that the hand axe really plays just like the curved sword does. So if you learn how to play well with a curved sword, you'll be able to play well with the hand axe as well. Had a little panic roll there at the end, but really trying to focus on staying aggressive. I don't know why I wasn't using the bundles here. I've been using them fairly consistently. Man, bundles add so much damage to your weapon, especially at these low levels and especially with a weapon like this. You just really should be using them. The only time I wouldn't use bundles is if I had a chance to actually buff my weapon. Like with dark damage, that's probably a little bit better just so you don't have to constantly manage the bundles. And see there, normally I would have rolled out after a parry like that, but I forced myself to stay in there, wait and see what he's going to do. Part of it too, and I thought he was going to go for the follow-up weapon art, but part of it is being able to manage being in, like I think what Skitter would call aggressive and offensive mode simultaneously. So that if he swings, I can reaction roll it, but if he parries, I can just wait and then swing. and this guy I knew was going to start trying to parry out of rolls. So I don't catch his first roll here. You see, yep, knew he was going to go for it. Now with a curved sword, it's a lot harder for people to get away with that. You can usually get in there pretty well before the parry. Cestus users, you got to worry about a little bit more, but like a Llewellyn, see, I knew he was going to go for the parry, but I swung anyway because I knew I would beat him. Just really having so much fun with this. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, I've been invading here and bluing here at low levels. It's been just a lot of like fight clubs. I didn't get a lot of like really good invasions against groups with this. So when you don't twink, especially here, by the time you get to the woods, the advantage the twinks have is somewhat diminished, but they still definitely have an advantage. And guys like this are like, for me, just the worst to fight. I've got a small weapon, so I really have to get in his face, which really challenges my ability to be aggressive. He's got that dark hand, which does a tremendous amount of damage. He's the classic 50-50 player. He's just going to mix between parrying and attacking. Playing players like this can be really, really difficult to avoid getting parried. So things like this, I think, are kind of a test. But I mentioned not twinking. One of the things I want to show off, and there again, not rolling out after the parry, but staying in his face and actually anticipating it and running around to his back for the backstab. But players like this, they're really just shameless, man. They'll just keep spamming it because they know it works. It's effective. And in my view, they're usually not good players that just have concluded it's an effective strategy. I think they're usually bad players, and that's really one of the only ways that they can win is to just spam parry like that. But if you're giving into the temptation to twink, as I certainly have many times in the past, I want to show a graph to you. If you are getting all the bone shards before the Abyss Watchers, which will take your Estus up to +3, that'll actually put you in good shape. And I'll talk more about that when I show a graph that I created. Aside from some of the missing rings, I think I've got like Shield Ring, Life Ring, Chloranthy Ring, and then I don't remember what I have in the in the 4th slot. But you can actually get pretty decent parity. The Estus Ring. Estus Ring at this level is like a must. Otherwise, your Estus just doesn't heal nearly enough. Man. That I thought was a really good example of the levels of aggression I've been able to achieve with this weapon. And you can see I'm getting reads and I'm gambling that he's going to panic roll in some of those situations where if he were to parry instead, he might catch me. Now, you can time it such that if they parry like with a Llewellyn, you can swing early enough that's the risk of getting parried is pretty low, but if they roll, you'll still roll catch them. The timing is really interesting, and I think it was Yuko that made the point on a previous video that when you play Curved Sword, you'll learn a lot about the intricate timings of what you can beat and what you can't, and I think he's absolutely right. I have been learning a lot about that. I'm still, certainly no expert. I've only been doing this now for a couple weeks, but I can't see me going back to any other weapon anytime soon. I just absolutely am in love. One of the things I'm actually hoping for is that this video may serve as kind of an inspiration for somebody else. Even at this point in the game's life, if there's an element of your game that you're dissatisfied with, you definitely can work on it. And it actually reminded me, I used to play a lot of guitar, and you can get better at playing an instrument like that just by screwing around and playing. But really, if you want to get better at something, there's a difference between screwing around with something and focused practicing. So, set a goal or two in each play session and really work at trying to do the thing that you're trying to learn. And you'll be amazed, man. You can get a lot better very quickly just by focusing on a few key elements for improvement. And as usual, I'm deeply indebted to everyone that watches these videos and comments. On my last video, I just got a wealth of great commentary. And I've been studying the gameplay of people like B-Dubs and G9 and Mocha to try to understand what it is that they do that makes them so effective. And I've learned a lot, and I'm trying to emulate elements of their game in mine. And of course, I'm nowhere near as good as any of those players are. But even if I can take just a fraction of what they're able to do and apply it to my own game, then that's great for me. I'm really satisfied with that. So to kind of wrap this up, I wanted to show you the graph I mentioned earlier. So this is a graph of the amount of healing that you get per Estus at each upgrade level. So starting all the way at the left, you can see unupgraded Estus heals for 250 HP a pop, and completely upgraded Estus heals for 600, but it's not a linear progression as you upgrade it. The early upgrades are worth a great deal more than the later ones. In fact, so much so that all the upgrades that you get from between +5 and +10 are combined less than the upgrade you get from 0 to +1. So I think from 5 to 10, you get an additional total 80 HP per Estus, whereas going from 0 to 1 grants you an additional 85 HP. And you can see that the gains are pretty substantial until around +4, +5, and then the graph sharply levels off and you get pretty small returns. And I think the developers probably did that because the bone shards, you can miss some of them. So even just a casual player that isn't hunting for these very hard is probably going to find 4 or 5 in a playthrough at least. They may not find all 10. But the difference in healing ability between +5 and +10 again is really, excuse me, not that much. And with the Estus ring at +3, your Estus heal nearly as much as a +10 Estus without the ring. I think it's like 564 HP of healing with +3 Estus and the ring. So you can really cut down on the disadvantage as a non-twink. And again, you can get to +3 before the Abyss Watchers. And I think you can find 10 flasks. So that gives you 5 in an invasion at +3 again, almost the equivalent of +10 with the Estus ring. So give that a try. Twink, non-twink, it's a continuum. Find the balance point that suits you. I hope you guys enjoy this content. Thanks so much for watching. Take care now.